Hello, fourth grade. Welcome to the library. Today we're going to talk about copyright laws. Miss Stewart has informed me that you are doing a project where you're going to need to use internet resources to complete your final project. With that in mind, it's important for everyone to understand what a copyright is and how to protect yourself while using the internet. There are rules in place when it comes to taking and using things on the internet, and today's goals are to inform you about those rules. After today, everyone should be able to tell me what a copyright is while understanding the basics of what a copyright does, why copyrights are important, and how it can affect you, and also how to properly use copyrighted information. So at the end of today, you will be doing a copyright sort with a partner to demonstrate that you understand what a copyright is and how to use them. Okay, I want you to think about a scenario I've created. Maybe you have some experience with it. Sally paints a picture of a dog. John, in art class, John loves the picture so much, he takes a picture of it and posts it on Instagram with the caption, "Man's best friend." When Sally sees the post, she's upset. What can she do? Well, this is where copyright comes in. A copyright is a form of legal protection of an individual's original creative work. So when you think about Sally's painting of a dog, that was her original creative work. She has legal protection over her creation. Okay? So what does a copyright do exactly? A copyright gives creators control over their original work, preventing others from reproducing or distributing them without permission. When John posted Sally's dog painting on Instagram, he distributed her creative work without her permission. When you post something, that's distributing it. Okay? That is not okay. As the creator, this means as Sally being the creator, she has copyrights over what she made. So do you. Anytime you make something, you have a copyright over it. So once you have written something down or put it on paper or any media you choose, you automatically have copyright protections. This prevents someone from taking what you created and using it how they wish. So saying it's theirs, that they created it. So without your permission. Understanding copyright is essential for respecting others' creative works and protecting your own creations. So what kind of information can be copyrighted, you ask? Pretty much everything. Texts, so anything that's written down like books, short stories, plays, poetry, emails, Facebook posts, etc. Also artwork like paintings, drawings, illustrations, music, whether it's a beat or you singing, uh, photography, any pictures you take, dance choreography. So if you make up a dance, if you make movies or TV shows or anything on film, so anything you create can be copyrighted. Oops. Sorry. It is important, the importance of copyright. Copyrights protect the financial interests of the creators. Basically, if someone created something and wanted to sell it, they can. That way, others cannot copy the original work and try to make money off of it. Copyright laws are in place to encourage creativity and innovation by ensuring creators are rewarded for their efforts. So, all material, everyone listen to me, all material on the internet is copyright unless otherwise stated. So that does not mean everything on the internet cannot be used. It's just that creators have a say in how you use their content or how their content can be used by others. So now you might be thinking, well, if everything on the internet is copyrighted, now how am I supposed to finish my final project? You ask permission. So that's the authors. Copyright requires people to get permission before they copy, paste, alter, or share what someone else created. So you ask them, hey, John should have asked Sally, hey, is it okay if I post this on my Instagram? I really love your dog picture. And she could say, no, I don't want that, or sure, go for it. Okay, John should have asked for permission. There is another way. So say you can't get a hold of them, or it's not someone in your art class. So in order to use copyrighted information, you need to be able to cite your source. So you can use media or information from the internet or other places if you cite your source. So what that means is you tell the audience, so like the people you're showing your project to, like your teacher or your classmates or your parents, you tell them by writing down on a slide or have who the author or artist is and where you found that information, such as like the website. So if you think back about John and Sally, John is going to be in a lot of trouble for taking Sally's art and sharing it on Instagram. He should have asked permission first and given Sally credit as the artist in the caption. So he should have like hashtag Sally. Um, so that way, because he didn't, others are going to assume that he drew the picture. And that is a type of stealing. He is not giving her credit. So he has basically said to his fan base, hey, this is my painting. And so everyone thinks, oh, he's such a good painter. Where in reality, Sally was the one that painted it. So it's not fair to steal someone else's work, just like you don't steal someone's money or you don't steal their lunch. Okay. So her painting has a copyright and he stole it when he did not tell everyone who made it. He did not cite his source. So there are two more exceptions. So there are some exceptions for freely using copyrighted information known as fair use and public domain. So fair use provides exceptions for teachers and students as long as certain rules are followed. So basic criteria for an educator or a student can use something on the internet in a classroom setting. So the law says there needs to be 4 basic criteria for determining if something is okay to use under the Fair Use Act. So its purpose, its nature, the amount used, and the effect. The purpose, oops, let's go back. So right here, the purpose of the use means whether it's for a nonprofit educational purpose. So it's being used, if it's being used to, if you're taking something and using it to make money, then it would not be allowed under the fair use. So the purpose has to be for educational purposes. So you want to show everyone about the body parts of a dolphin. You might take a picture off of Wikipedia of a dolphin's body anatomy so that you can show everyone in your class the anatomy of a dolphin. That is educational purposes. You are not taking that picture and printing it off and selling posters of it to make money. That would not be okay under fair use. So then there is the nature of the work. If the work is for general readership, like a magazine, and it's not specifically for education, it's okay to use it in the classroom. So then there's the amount of copyright material being used. So if you use portions, that's okay in a classroom. Um, More so than if you use something, the entirety of something. So if you wanted to use a little poem out of a book of poetry, that's fine. You couldn't copy the entire book and say, oh, it was for the classroom. Okay, because that goes into the effect of um, the the use. So if something is used in the classroom and it affects the artist's or company's sales. So if you bought a class set of textbooks, or if instead of buying a class set of textbooks, if you just bought one book and then made a copy of that book for your whole class, that's gonna affect that company, right? The company's there to make money, and just because you bought one book, they would rather you buy 20. So you couldn't do that in a classroom because that's affecting um that's affecting the way they're making money. So there's also the public domain. So the other way you can freely use materials on the internet falls under public domain category. So after a number of years, creative works are free to use without permission by anyone. So copyrights do expire, and it's 70 years after the death of the owner. So they have been gone a long, 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 long time, and they're almost their kids don't even um, make money off of the copyright anymore. So facts are also under public domain. You can't claim that the sky is blue and try to make money off of that. Like it's a fact. The sky is blue. The weather outside in Texas right now, those are facts. Okay. They do not belong to anybody. It belongs to the public. Also, things published before a certain date. I think right now, everything published before 1923, the last time I checked, is in public domain. So that was 100 years ago. So think of Shakespeare, Beethoven, all their work is in the public domain. So a creator can decide their work is public domain. So think about the background computer screens that are loaded on the computer and you can choose from. So those are photographs that somebody took. They decided that their work is public domain and that anyone can use them without asking for permission. So sometimes you'll find stock images on Google or not Google. So in like slides, you can find images that are stock. Those are public domain. Anyone can use them. They don't belong to anybody. Now, copyright infringement is when you violate a copyright. So when you use a work that is protected by copyright without permission, you have infringed on a copyright. So you have violated a copyright. You have broken the law. You have essentially stolen someone's work. You could potentially, if you were caught, you could potentially go to court and have to pay a big fine, maybe even thousands of dollars. You cannot reproduce a copyrighted material or copy something. You cannot distribute or share a copyrighted material. You cannot display or show, like in a shop window or a bulletin board, and you cannot perform a copyrighted material like copying a dance you saw and performing in front of a live paying audience. Those are things that you cannot do. Um, Now, I'm going to say people do it all the time and that you don't get caught every time, but then when you do, you're in big trouble. So that's how a lot of, I'm trying to think of an example would be when certain music artists take a beat or like a little sample of someone's music and they don't give them credit. Though the original artist, so this happened with trying to think of that one song. So Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, there's that dun 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 dun. Dun. Well, David Bowie and Queen made a song just like that dun 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 dun. Dun. And so they took Vanilla Ice to court, and now anytime that song is played, Queen and David Bowie, well, their estate essentially gets paid money every time that song's played because Vanilla Ice did not ask for permission, used it anyways, got caught, and now he has to pay a fine every single time that song is played. So it can be a pretty big deal. Okay, so how does this apply to you? Well, since you're using the internet resources for educational purposes, you're not violating copyright laws as long as you use them correctly. Let the audience know where you found your information by citing your source, and also only use the material for educational purposes. Don't try to print off the final project, make copies of it, and try to sell it as a book. If you're using images found on the internet, those images are not yours to make money off of. So just remember, just because it's online doesn't mean it's free to use. It is illegal to ignore copyright laws. So you need to cite your sources and when in doubt, ask. Ask my or your teacher if you ask me or your teacher if you use certain images or if you need to ask the artist or the author for permission to use their music or work of art. So always ask. And so um oops. So right now you're going to break up with your partners and you're going to show your understanding. You're going to complete the sort where you have different scenarios. Um, and you're going to have different scenarios and you're going to decide if it's okay under copyright, if that is okay or if it's not okay. And you're going to get a couple chances and come see me when you're done. Thanks, everybody. Oops. All right. Have a good night.